What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name's Kyle. In this video, we're going over the tight end rankings. This will be my final tight end ranking video update for you guys in the month of August. Hopefully, you're not drafting this weekend, maybe next weekend or Labor Day weekend. But either way, I'm going to hop into a screen share here. We're going to go over my rankings. You guys can find these for free on thefantasyfellowship.com. Just go to the rankings tab, or you can go in the playbook and find it there. But again, August 19th, we got Saturday preseason games brewing here. Pat Fryermuth caught a touchdown. It looked pretty nice. So let's just hop into it. I'm going to basically do this tier by tier for you guys. I think it's very obvious who the first tiered tight end is, and he's in a tier all by himself. Travis Kelce, the clear tight end one. He's probably a first-round pick for most of your leagues, whether he's the top 5 or top 10 pick, it doesn't matter. He is the ultimate cheat code at the position. As long as he stays healthy, he's guaranteed to lead the league in tight end points. So he is tough to pay up the price for a first-round pick, but I think as long as he stays healthy, he's going to pay off. We know his talent is there. We know he's Pat Mahomes' favorite target. He's set up for another 1,200 yards and probably double-digit touchdowns. So I don't need to tell you to take Travis Kelce. The only question is, yeah, he's getting up there in age, and is a first-round pick too expensive? As long as he plays every game, he's going to be fine. So I like Kelce. If you have good vibes for Kelce, go ahead and take him at the start of your draft. The next group of tight ends includes 2 tight ends in this tier. That's Mark Andrews and TJ Hawkinson. So I think the gap between them is pretty close. Either way, I think with Mark Andrews, he's going to lead the Ravens in targets. TJ Hawkinson's going to be second in targets behind Justin Jefferson. But guess what? Hawkinson still has a chance to beat Mark Andrews in targets. He could, be up in the 120s, 130s for targets. Mark Andrews kind of in that same window. So they're both seeing the same amount of opportunities. Kirk Cousins staying healthier is a little bit better bet than Mark Andrews. So I think you have to bake that into some of the ADP as well. Basically, the Vikings are going to throw the ball a lot more than the Ravens. So I like both guys here. I think Mark Andrews is good as a third-round pick if you want him. And Lamar stays healthy for the full season, we might see Mark Andrews just ball out like he did a couple years ago. He could lead the position in touchdowns. And as long as Lamar and Mark are both healthy, we expect him to go over 1,000 yards. I think same thing with TJ Hawkinson. He's going to flirt with 1,000 yards this year. The touchdowns are going to be what make or break it for him. He's a full round or so after Mark Andrews and ADP. I like both guys here. I do draft a good amount of both of them. So I think they're both elite tight end options. But I'll tell you what, my whole take on the tight ends this year, my favorite tight end group to grab is these tier 3 tight ends here of Darren Waller and Dallas Goedert. That's the only 2 tight ends I have in this tier. This is my favorite one to pull from. Darren Waller looked good the other night in preseason, so he's probably moving up draft boards, but Dallas Goedert's my other favorite tight end. Now with Waller, the Giants made him a priority. They traded for him in free agency this season, and the preseason game the other night, he got 3 targets right away. He actually dropped a 4th pass that would have been like a 15 to 20-yard gain. Darren Waller could have had 10 fantasy points on the first drive just even without a touchdown. So Waller is the receiver 1 for this team. I think he could actually move himself into the Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson tier. We could look really stupid after week 1. And if Darren Waller goes 8 for 110 and a touchdown, we could feel really stupid. That's his upside. He is a receiver, not a tight end, and it looks like the Giants are going to feature him heavily. So I like Waller a lot in the 5th round. If I miss on Waller, I want Dallas Goedert pretty badly. Last year, before Goedert's injury, which happened, I think, in the Week 10 game, Goedert was second in tight end yards per game with about 58. So he was on pace for almost 1,000 tight end yards last year. He also had he was top 5 in receptions and targets and things like that too. So he is a top 5 tight end when healthy. And everything out of the Eagles camp right now says that Dallas Goedert has been pretty much unguardable, unstoppable. He could lead the team in touchdowns this year. That wouldn't surprise me if he gets a touchdown spike season. I expect him to get, 6, 7 touchdowns this year. Probably 900 yards is realistic, and maybe 60 to 70 grabs this year. So I like Goedert a ton. I think you can get him in the 6th round. That's where the value is at, I think, for the tight end position. Waller and Goedert. Otherwise, what's in tier 4? Tier 4 gets a little bit trickier. I have 3 guys here for you. Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, and Pat Fryermuth. With Pitts, we all love his talent. We all love his athleticism. It's just we haven't seen it for 2 years coming together. He did have 1,000 yards his rookie season, but it was not a super smooth 1,000 yards. He hasn't caught touchdowns in 2 years. He's just been a very frustrating prospect. And now with Desmond Ridder as his QB, you also have Bijan Robinson there, Drake London, a couple other receivers there. We don't really know what Kyle Pitts' longevity is going to be as like the second or third target right now. I might have said something weird, but either way, Pitts didn't play a lot in the preseason. He was only on the field for 9 of 17 snaps. I have my doubts. I still think he's really talented. He's coming off of a knee injury, so he's been kind of being brought along slowly. But if you want to bet on talent, Kyle Pitts is your man. You can get him in the 7th round, sometimes the 8th round. Again, but you probably want to make sure you have a decent tight end too, just in case. With George Kittle, he's also got a little injury, I think an adductor strain right now going on, so he hasn't been really participating. I think he had a spike year last year, a career spike touchdown season, so those are going to come down. He's still a really nice piece in that 49ers passing offense, but he's going to be boom bust, whereas I think Waller, Goddard, and the other 3 tight ends are going to be more consistent. Kittle's going to have some spike weeks, no doubt, but he's also going to have a lot of those 2 and 4 point games. Pat Freiermuth, I might actually prefer drafting Pat Freiermuth over Pitts and Kittle because I think he's going to be more consistent. Pat Freiermuth was actually 6th in targets, receptions, and yards last year among all tight ends. He only caught 2 touchdowns. I think he's going to catch more than 2 touchdowns. He just caught one in the preseason game tonight. So when it comes to tight ends, I think Goddard and Waller, that's my first thought. Otherwise, I like snagging Pat Freiermuth. He should be very consistent compared to Pitts and Kittle. Moving on to tier number 5. We do have Evan Ingram, David Njoku. I'm fine with these guys. They're both not like elite tight end options. They're both kind of the 3rd, 4th target in the offensive game plan. I think they're going to be productive. They're probably going to be a top 10 tight end by the end of the season. I don't see them being like big target hogs like I think the other guys can be. Tier number 6 for you is a bigger tier, and that goes all the way from Dalton Schultz, Tyler Higbee, Dalton Kincaid, Jake Ferguson, Gerald Everett, and Juwan Johnson. Now, say you miss the top 10 tight ends. I think you want to pull 2 tight ends and make a duo, whether you get Schultz and one of the rookie tight ends like Dalton Kincaid. There's a couple of tight ends that we're going to talk about in the next tier. But I'm totally cool with going into the season with one of these guys being my starter. It doesn't feel great if you feel a little weak and light at the position, but at this point, you're just hoping for 8 to 10 points and calling it a good day. I do think if I wait on tight end, I want Kincaid as one of my 2. The Buffalo Bills are going to feature him. Otherwise, Jake Ferguson. That is probably my favorite tight end to draft right now as my tight end 2. He's just way too cheap. He's a starting tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. He's making plays in the preseason already. He's been the guy all minicamp OTAs. He's been running with the ones, and he's a second-year tight end, so he's pretty comfortable in this offense. And he just looks like what Dalton Schultz has been the last 2-3 years, which is a top 10 tight end. So I love Jake Ferguson. I'm telling you, if you can come away with Kincaid and Ferguson, I think that could work as your tight end duo. Everett's in a good offense, kind of the 4th or 5th target, and Juwan Johnson is a nice target for Juwan Johnson. So I like what we're seeing here. Let's go ahead and move it down to tier number 7. I like this tier a lot too. These guys are more tight end 2s though. I don't feel comfortable with any of these guys starting. That's Juwan Johnson, Luke Musgrave, Cole Kmet, Sam Laporta, Chig Okonkwo. Chig Okonkwo is the exciting second-year tight end. He's going to be the 3rd target now for Ryan Tannehill. I think Sam Laporta, yeah, rookie tight ends are tough, but Laporta is going to probably be that 2nd or 3rd target, you know, in that offense. And with Cole Kmet, that's more of a touchdown play. I think he can do a decent amount of damage. But he's going to be kind of boom bust most weeks. If you feel good about him, you can kind of leave him out there and do the pray for the touchdown situation. Otherwise, Luke Musgrave, man, he's got no competition for the starting tight end spot. He's going to be the guy. The Packers are featuring him heavily right now in training camp, and I think he could be a really nice, sneaky tight end number 2. Juwan Johnson, again, he's the Saints' lead tight end. He's going to be on the field a lot. It sounds like Derek Carr is having a pretty good offseason with him. So I'm fine with any of these guys as my tight end 2. More of a project round here. Tier 8 and tier 9, I'll kind of group together. I'm fine with any of these guys as my bench tight end. Irv, Knox, Conklin, Henry. Taysom Hill in a standard league is a tight end 1. But Greg Dulcich, Hayden Hurst, Michael Mayer, Trey McBride. I'm kind of low on all these guys. I think Hunter Henry and Conklin are interesting. I don't know what Irv Smith's role is going to be in that Bengals offense. I'm down on Dulcich because he's the backup tight end. He's only going to be in passing situations. It sounds like Adam Trotman's going to be on the field a lot more. Don't sleep on Hayden Hurst. I might be too low on Hayden Hurst. He's actually going to be on the field a ton. I do like Michael Mayer, but he's kind of the fourth target there, maybe third, fourth target at best. McBride, Fant, Otten. Again, these are just guys that are probably going to go undrafted. I do want to shout out Cole Turner, who I think is the guy that you want long-term for the Commanders. Durham Smythe starting for the Miami Dolphins. At this point, I hope you're not relying on any of these guys here. So to recap my preferred tight end strategy, if you want Kelce, Mark Andrews, go get them. If you want Hockenson, go get them. My preferred strategy is waiting for Waller in the 5th or Goddard in the 6th. I do like pulling Pat Freiermuth whenever his ADP is up. That's my third tight end that I like to target. Otherwise, I'm making a committee. Give me Kincaid and Ferguson. Give me Ferguson and Jawan. Give me Ferguson and Luke Musgrave. Stuff like that. I'm looking at that 6 and 7 tier for my tight end. So that's it. You guys can check out the rankings at thefantasyfellowship.com. There's going to be a link in the description if you guys want to check it out too, or the comments. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And yeah, I got one more video to make. I already did the QB video, the running back video. Tight ends are complete. Let's get that wide receiver done. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow though. But either way, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.